Welcome to the Business and Corporate Environment class on features of joint stock company. So the features of joint stock companies, the first one is separate legal entity. Joint stock company has separate legal existence apart from the persons composing it. It is also treated as an artificial person. It can own property and sue in a court of law. A shareholder being an entity distinct from that of a company can sue the company and be sued by it, whereas a partnership organization or a sole proprietor has no such legal existence in the eye of the law, separately from the persons composing it. Hence, there can't be a contract between a partner and the firm, whereas there can be a contract between a shareholder and a company. Perpetuity. It is also called as perpetual succession. Men may come and go, but a company goes on forever. So, joint stock company has the characteristic of perpetuity, unlike a partnership or a sole trading concern. Once a company is formed, it continues for an unlimited period until it is formally liquidated. The maxim, men may come and men may go, but I go on forever, applies in the case of the company. But a sole trading concern comes to an end with the death of a sole trader, and in the case of a partnership, death, retirement, or insolvency of any member of the partnership would dissolve the firm. But in a joint stock company, it does not happen. Limited liability. In the case of joint stock company, the liability of members is normally limited by guarantee or by the shares he has taken. If a member has already paid the complete amount due on his shares, he is not further liable for the debts of the company further. But in the case of sole proprietorship and partnership, the liability is unlimited, and in the case of later, it is also both joint and several. Number of members. In the case of a public limited company, the maximum number of members is unlimited, the minimum being 7. In the case of private limited company, the maximum is 200 and minimum is 2. But the number of partners in a partnership cannot exceed 10 in the case of banking business, as per Section 11 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, and 50 in other lines of business. Separation of ownership from management. In the case of partnership, partners are not only the owners of the business, but they take part its management also. Every member of a partnership firm is an agent of the firm and also for the other members. In the case of a joint stock company, the shareholders are the owners, while the management is entrusted to a board of directors who are separate from the shareholders. Further, the shareholders are not the agents of the company, and the shareholder cannot bind them by his acts. Transferability of shares. The shareholder of a company can transfer his shares to others without consulting other shareholders, whereas in partnership, a partner cannot transfer his share without the consent of all the other partners. Rigidity of objects. In the case of a partnership, the scope of its business can be changed at any time with the consent of all the partners, whereas a joint stock company cannot do any business not already included in the object class of the memorandum of association of the company. A change in the object class under the condition laid down in the Companies Act is essential for making any alteration in the scope of the business. Financial resources. On account of liability and diffusion of ownership in the joint stock company, there is a great scope for mobilizing a large capital. But in the case of partnership or sole proprietorship, because of the limited number of members, the resources at their command is limited. Statutory regulation. A company has to comply with numerous and varied statutory requirements. It has to submit a number of returns to the government, whereas partnership and sole proprietorship are free from much state control and statutory regulations. Further, in the case of the company, accounts must be audited by a chartered accountant, but it is not compulsory in the case of partnership and sole proprietorship. Thank you.